The auto sector has been reeling under pressure for quite some time. The pandemic somehow ended up being a new lease of life for them. It ended up being good news, and the last quarter they grew by almost double digits. The demand for domestic vehicles, passenger vehicles has gone up exponentially, in certain cases up to 26% or so. So, is this a good time for you to buy a car? Should you be investing, especially in midst of a COVID pandemic, when taking a public transport is not really the bestest, or in fact, should I say, the safest option at this point? Well, these are the questions we'll answer for you on FYI today. I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor. Now, let's quickly look at the 4 key things that we are looking at in our discussion today. Is this a good time for you to buy a car? Why has there been a surge in compact car sales? What has changed from 2010 to 2020 in the auto sector, the trends emerging from there? And then, why was the auto sector suffering even before the pandemic? So our team did some research and we looked at, firstly, what exactly is the growth like, and is that telling us a story? What exactly has been the growth this quarter? Well, the September sales have been in double digit, and the auto industry body tells us that the domestic passenger sales are up 26.5% compared to September of 2019. Passenger vehicle sales have increased by 17% in quarter 2, and passenger car sales have gone up by 16% in quarter 2. So, is there a festive cheer lined up? I know that's going to be the next question. Should we wait for some offers that might be coming our way in the Diwali season? Well, the Society for Indian Automobile Manufacturers believe it is so. They believe festive demand is going to be a good one this time around. To judge whether recovery is real or sustainable, they say they'll have to wait to see what happens to demand in the Jan to March quarter as well. They also add that it is very difficult to estimate the future after December 2020 right now, but so far, until then, it seems to be going good so far. They also recognize that they're battling COVID-19 situation right now, and they have to wait and watch and see what happens after the festive season. All right, so that's what we know so far. But to understand the story of auto, it's important to look at trends that have emerged earlier. Remember, in the beginning of the program, I told you that auto sector had been reeling under pressure, had been in negative growth for several quarters, even before the pandemic. Why was that? What is the learning from it? Sakshi explains.
So just what are the trends the auto sector was witnessing before the pandemic, and which ones continue to exist even now? The first one being, of course, the surge in online sales. Queries on the digital platform were already rising and now have essentially been the route all buyers are taking in order to avoid visiting dealerships. The other trend which was also emerging as per reports is the need for the young and middle class to acquire a car, and now the surge in demand for compact cars over the last few months explains how this trend is likely to continue. The uptick in demand for used cars also already existed, but now has magnified. As per reports, many just want to own an affordable car in order to remain safe in the midst of the pandemic. Lastly, the consideration towards low-emission vehicles and the push towards electric vehicles was also already on the rise, but now seems to be an option many consumers are thinking of seriously.
All right, let's throw it open to our guests this morning. We've got Vinkesh Gulati, he's the President and Federation for Auto Dealers Association. We've got Naveen Soni, Senior Vice President, Sales and Services at Toyota. We've got Akshay Singh, he's the Chief Strategy Officer for Droom. Remember, second-hand car sales are up as well, so we'll try and see what's the story there. We've got Gajendra. He is the co-founder for Cars24, and we've also got Jagdish Khattar. He's the former MD for Maruti Suzuki. Let me begin by bringing in Naveen on this one. Naveen, your first thoughts on why exactly are we seeing this sudden phenomena of car sales going up?
I think it is, to put things in perspective, I don't want to call it sudden phenomena because if you see carefully at the figures, the industry has been consolidating itself post-COVID, whether it was a pent-up demand or whether the customers were looking for personal mobility space. It was very evident that from July onwards, if you see, if you consider A and B, which is the low end of the market, it started improving from 108% year on year in July to 127% in August and to 136%. That means the real growth is in the low end of the market.
Right.
So that's very important to understand. Like you pointed out, need for personal mobility is there. And in addition to that, easy availability of finance and also, other factors. Recently, you may have seen, the government of India has announced a very good scheme wherein, salaried employees, even in the private sector, are allowed to buy cars and avail of tax benefits, such as, which was available only for professionals and companies, so to say. So all this put together, and we've got a good monsoon, we've got people who've been sitting at home for a very long time, so they have hopefully have a good surplus of cash, etc. Their mobility needs have not gone away. It's only that, that they want a second car or the third car, which normally would have been, the mass transportation or the shared mobility that would have taken that place. So this is where I think it's coming back, and I think it's a good festive season ahead of us. I would say that.
Good festive season ahead of us. Venkesh Gulati, do you believe those are the very factors that are contributing to this increase of sale at this point? Lower interest rates and also lesser discounts that are being actually offered by the companies?
So yes, practically whatever Naveen has said is right. We are slowly coming out of COVID, and personal mobility has become one of the biggest point and a trigger of our sales coming back. And what we are seeing that the customers who want to move around, they have a bit of a fear psychosis in moving with public transport.
Right.
And there has been some issues in public transport, like till date, 100% public transport is not on. So all of these factors have helped us find the tandem coming back to auto sales. The customers who have been stuck at home, most of them working from home, their travel holidays are not happening, international travel is nil, even domestic is very less. So I feel they have some money to spare for the past 4 or 5 months of the savings what they have done. And
isn't that an
the overall
oxymoron?
scenario,
If you're staying at home, then why do you need a car?
so typically, yes, you are right on it, but you are not 100% at home. So working from home means at least 5 days or 6 days you are moving around for the office, you are not doing that. But still, you cannot be stuck. You will move out for some important things outside, meeting close relatives or going out for buying some things which is needed. So that is going on, and practically the psychosis which a human mind has, they know that even in the coming an year or so, they'll not be comfortable going on metros or buses.
Right.
So they are planning for that. So and as of now, the entry level cars and the two-wheelers are seeing that growth, exponential growth because of all this. So we expect this to go on, and luckily enough, we are at the we are on the cusp. So not cusp, even the festival has started, and the current tandem at the dealerships, the footfalls and the deliveries are clearly showing that this is a positive sign for the auto sector.
All right. Jagdish Khattar, let me take your opening comments as well. This is quite an interesting time when the pandemic made a lot of industry, forced a lot of industry to do a lot of rethinking. Somehow it's ended up bringing cheer to the auto sector, which had been under pressure even before.
Yeah, that's right. And I think the industry has been very lucky that this has happened, because before that, I mean, there was all talk about Olas and others are doing well and sharing, etc. Suddenly, with the coming of this, the whole scene has changed, and that is what we are seeing today. So I agree with the other panelists that we are seeing very good times, and it will continue for the next 2 months till the end of the year. But I must give a word of caution that there is always a pent-up demand when for over a period of time you have had no sales or there was a restriction. So they all come back in hordes, and then you start seeing it in the incentives and all are there. Now, whether it will continue in the same vein after January, I hope it is, but I'm not very sure, because I think that is when the realization will come and all this would have taken place. So all said and done, the auto industry faced a tough time before this problem that we had,
Right.
and people were thinking that the Olas and others would take over, and there'll be a change, and it was looking like that. But suddenly, private ownership has become very important.
Correct.
And you can see also that the demand is more on the entry level cars. Now that's an indication of the people who are coming to the auto industry are those who are at the entry level, not those the higher end of the cars and others. So there is a specific segment which is coming, and this segment also comes in holds. Certainly, if there is some change in the outlook and if some relief comes, it might go away. So the short point I'm making is that auto industry had a tough time. It looked a difficult time. With the coming of COVID, things changed. Private ownership has become important.
But we don't know how long this is going to stay. That's effectively what you're saying.
It will continue till December. After that, remains to be seen.
Right. Let me actually bring in another aspect on this, and that's why we've got Gajendra with us as well. He's a co-founder for Cars24, and I'll go across to Akshay also in a bit. But Gajendra, what exactly are the trends that you are seeing? I've been talking to a lot of people who tell me that the sale of second-hand cars has also gone up, especially when you're looking at the initial sectors, people who are actually just moving in from public transport to say cars.
Yeah, so the sale, as soon as in 4th of May, when the unlock started, when we started our business back again, we were pleasantly surprised that the initial indicator of whether the market is coming back and bouncing or not, it's the traffic on our website. And in May, the very first month of unlock, we were able to recover the traffic on the website what was back in February 20 before Corona, which told us that the things are going in the right direction and consumers are really looking to, there's increased demand of used cars in the market. And followed by July, we were almost recovered back to the pre-Corona level in terms of transactions as well. So, and right now we are currently on the growth trajectory where we have not only, equated the number of February 20, but also we are way ahead in terms of numbers. So overall, from the used car industry, I feel that there is even stronger impact as compared to new car because, many of the panelists likely pointed out that there is an increased demand of owning a car, primarily due to the safety precautions that everybody either consumers don't have option to travel or the means to travel via public transportation, or they feel that it's not safe to travel if there's one available. So they are choosing to buy a car, and when it comes to buy a car, and here one difference what I would like to point out is that the need to buy a car is not driven by aspiration or status quo. It is primarily driven by the need of safety. So and this is not something what anyone was planning, 8 months ago. So everyone would want to buy or invest in a car where they need to, spend least amount of money, which can solve their purpose of traveling from point A to point B. And the used car, fits right there in the need of a consumer because the ROI is much higher as compared to new car, and that's why the used car are showing much more recovery as compared to new cars. And I would predict it will keep on going upwards. The consumers, one of the analysis what we've done about pre-COVID and post-COVID that earlier almost around less than 45% of customers who were buying a car from us were the first time buyers, but now that same number has jumped to close to 60%. So now 60% of the customers who are buying cars from Cars24 are first-time buyers. So that shows there's a major chunk of new car owners which has not had car before are right now in the market looking to buy a car, which kind of reflects the true picture of what's going on in the market.
All right, interesting what you're telling us. Let me bring in Akshay as well. Akshay, similar story at Droom as well. And when you look at these second-hand cars, what kinds are the ones which are getting really popular this time around?
Yes, I would definitely agree with what the other panelists are indicating in terms of the trends that we are seeing in the marketplace. Now, Room is an online focused platform. So one additional trend that we are seeing is just in terms of adoption of online. So if I look at some of our numbers, the number of visitors that are coming to our platform, the number of leads that we are generating on the used vehicle side as well as new vehicle side, that has gone up by over 50% when I compare it to, let's say, the start of the year, right? And to your second question, in terms of what kind of demand are we seeing? One, I would say it's a secular demand because of the factors that the others have mentioned, where there's a shift in demand away from ride sharing to vehicle ownership, from public transportation to vehicle ownership. There's also definitely a in demand away from new use because of the financial uncertainty. Lots of people have lost their jobs or received salary cuts. So, they are being a little bit more conservative when it comes to a big decision like buying a vehicle. And that also affects, to a certain extent, the kind of choices they are making in terms of vehicle ownership. So hats are definitely in favor.
But does that also mean that luxury cars or high-end cars are up for sale as well?
Yes. So the most popular models on our platform are Swift Desire, Hyundai i10, i20s, the usual suspects when it comes to the Indian car market.
Right. Let me quickly get in a word on Gajendra from Gajendra as well. Gajendra, are you seeing sale of these luxury high-end cars as well on your platform?
No, we are not seeing the sale of luxury high-end cars, at least now on our platform. It's primarily the increase in demand is coming from the compact cars and compact sedans, compact hatchbacks and the compact sedans.
Right.
That is where the most majority demand is coming from the market.
Okay.
There's not much change observed in the luxury segment in particular.
Sure. Naveen, come in on the fact that, our viewers who are watching us right now want to know, fine, I completely resonate with this idea, but with the Diwali season coming us, give us tips on which areas should they be looking at. And at this point, I know all of you are on the panel, but what is a better buy to invest in a new car, a smaller compact car, or just buy a second-hand car?
I think this is very difficult to generalize, Sonali. But I think what we have to understand is each person has his mobility needs, as other people are also saying. Mobility needs are not going anywhere. In fact, they are still in a maybe 10 to 15% drop category. But still, people want to move from one place to another. They can't be stuck at their homes forever. So that going up, but the affordability needs are not going up. So therefore, it makes a sense to kind of look at what are the products that are available in the market which suit my requirements. So actually what is happening is it's actually a step down of the market that seems to be happening. So I wouldn't say that yes, while the how should I say, the A and B segments, as I said earlier, is grown by 136%, means 36% growth by September compared to last September. But it was in the month of, if you take the figures of month of August, for example, even at the high end, the market was coming back to 90, above A and B segment, the market had come back to 99%. What does that tell you? That, people are moving step down because for the additional car buy, they're looking at options which probably may not be the first car buy purchase, but as a second car in the house or as a third car in the house, where I typically wouldn't have gone for that, and that's what pushing the demand into the higher spectrum. And basically, I mean, to say this to Khattar Saab, I think he's seen better days. I know that there were better days in the industry. So please allow us this small moment of glory that is available currently.
Okay, I'll give Mr. Khattar a chance to respond to that.
No, I'll be very happy if the industry does well. I mean, it's
yes, sir.
It's a very major thing, and a lot of investment has gone and a lot of people involved. And let's face it, I say this industry has done so well that I'm surprised. It's a little deviation from the subject. I've started taking interest in bicycles. Can you believe in 20 years, the motorcycles and all sold twice more than the bicycles? So what I'm saying is there's a huge distortion as far as the mobility is concerned. But coming back, the car industry has had a rough time It has not had a very good time for the last couple of years. I think there are so many factors which are going into it that there's very little that the car industry can do except to hope for the best. First indication is that the small cars are coming back in this thing which people thought had gone away. So, I mean, net, we are in a very fluid situation. I find I'm taking interest in bicycles. Bicycle demand is so much that it's all sold out. So people are
let
going
me
in
tell
for
you
personal
that
mobility.
I booked a bicycle and there was a waiting of at least 5 months.
Yeah.
And
so
it's across boards, and there also is an interesting story because people are now actually going to OLX, etc. to book their bicycles. We'll do another show on bicycles as well. I'm hugely interested.
Can I
by
just
the way.
take a minute? I stay in Noida. You know, 65-70% of the people staying in Noida are working in Noida.
Right.
Do they need a car? Do they need a motorbike? They have to decide. If the roads improve, the safety is there, we'll get bicycles back again. So all net situation is quite fluid. We have had a tough time, but car industry is strong enough to face this situation. But going forward, I think we'll have to charter our way.
Well, I promise you, gentlemen, we'll get you back again and we'll discuss bicycles on a separate episode of FII. But let me bring in Mr. Gulati now. Mr. Gulati, your recommendations to people who are looking at car buys this Diwali season.
So practically, this is the best time to buy on the front when you need personal mobility, and we are not seeing any respite from the COVID numbers or the vaccines coming in or the delivery when we'll get everybody. So Festives normally gives the biggest trigger in an Indian human psyche. So Festives are there, auspicious occasions are there. No doubt the discounts or these schemes are not as good as last year, but it has improved from the past 2 months or so. So, and I feel if a customer is sitting at home and wants some mobility and his company car is not there or he's not moving around, like companies, most of the IT companies have given work from home till next year, some June or July. So this is a long period. They need one vehicle at least at home for movement also, which they were managing with the ride sharing opportunities before. So this is the right time. Festive is on, and there are schemes, there is availability, and lucky enough, there are a lot of new products which have been launched in the past 6 to 8 months, which are really great and as comparable to any Western product. So if a customer wants something for personal mobility, depending upon how they can afford. Luckily, we have very good financial schemes also.
Right. I have last 30 seconds. I have to let Gajendra come in and make a pitch to the viewers as well. When so many products are coming in, so many discounts are coming in, why should people be going for second-hand cars now? Quick 30 seconds. Then
that's a good question. I think that everyone has their own need. I cannot generalize comments for anyone, but overall, I think even if after offers and discount, used car would be 30 to 40% cheaper than the new car. And I think it all depends on the trigger by which you are buying a car and the budget what you have. Now you can get a good reliable used car with a much lower budget than as compared to new car, even 30 to 40%. Then definitely I would strongly recommend consumers or buyers to go and buy a used car.
All right, gentlemen, it's nice to do a debate in midst of a pandemic when there is smiles on everybody's faces. I can surely say that. So good to have all of you on FII. And that's it on the program today. But we've got an idea about bicycles as well. And maybe we can explore that in the coming week. Thanks so much for watching. You can leave your feedback on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you feel like. And we'll see you again weekdays, 11:30 FII.